Welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you another deck profile. This is gonna be for the newest archetype released in Dawn of Majesty, the Despia. I mixed it up with Shaddoll Invoked. So basically this is like a replacement for the Dogmatica. It's arguably not as good as the Dogmatica, but it's also around like $200 cheaper. So there is that. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the Shaddoll engine. I'm not gonna go into that much detail because by this time we all know what they do. But basically, I play 2 Squamatas, 1 Hedgehog, 1 Beast, 1 Wendy, and 1 Dragon. Those are the Shaddoll monsters. For the spells and traps, I play 1 Shaddoll Fusion, 3 Shaddoll Fusions, and the 1 Schism. I think that's pretty standard for like a Shaddoll engine. For the Invoke engine, I play triple copies of Alistair the Invoker, arguably one of the best monsters in YuGiOh. At some point it will have to get banned, but for now let's enjoy it. Triple copies of Magical Meltdown and the 2 copies of Invocation. And I think this is pretty standard, it doesn't need that much explaining, so let's move on. Now for the part you all been waiting for, Despians. I play triple copies of Albert, Jester of Despia. This card is really good. If it's normal or special summon, we can search for 1 branded spell or trap in the deck and add it to the hand. And if a level 8 or higher fusion monster we control is destroyed by battle or card effect, and while this card is on the graveyard, we can special summon this card and target 1 face-up monster our opponent controls and negate the effects of that monster until the end of the turn. I played 2 copies of Dramaturge of Despia. By the way, the art on this card is beautiful, so there is that. But this card, when this card is used for fusion material and it's sent to the graveyard or banished, you can special summon it back to the field. And also once per turn is if a fusion, synchro, XYZ or league monster is a special summon, except during the damage step, you can target 1 effect monster on the field and negate the effects of that monster until the end phase. So really good card. 2 Despian Tragedies. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect or banished, you can add 1 Despia monster from the deck to your hand. And if this card is in the graveyard, you can target 1 branded spell or trap card in your graveyard as well. Banish the Tragedy card and set the spell or trap card to your field. For the spells, we play triple copies of Branded Opening. This card is really good. It actually has really good synergy with Tragedy. So we can discard 1 card and take 1 Despia monster from the deck and either add it to the hand or special summon it in defense position. So if we have Tragedy, we discard Tragedy. And we can activate both effects to add 2 Despia, so we're usually gonna want to add Dramaturge with Tragedy and a special summon Aluver with Branded, and then activate Branded's, Aluver's effect. So really good card. You cannot special summon from the extra deck after using this card effect, except for fusion monsters, so be mindful of that. And I almost forgot, if a fusion monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard and protect that monster. So those are the 3 effects. And lastly, Despia Theater of the Branded. This is basically a polymerization that you can have in the field. So once per turn, you can fusion summon one level 8 or higher monster from your extra deck using monster from your hand or field as fusion material. If a face-up non-fusion fairy monster leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect or is destroyed by battle, you can special summon one level 8 or higher fusion monster from your graveyard. So the second effect, it's not gonna be as useful in this version because we barely play any fairy monster, maybe if Dramaturge gets destroyed. But still the first effect where we are able to fusion summon, really good. Now for the traps, I play triple copies of Gamma and for the hand traps, sorry. Play triple copies of Gamma and one copy of Driver, of course. Again, it has really good synergy with this deck. If we activate Branded and they try to Ash us, we can go ahead and activate Gamma. It's really good. I play triple copies of Baylor. Mostly, I'm choosing Baylor over Impermanence because I want to have another light monster. But you can have Nibiru or Artifact Lancia. It really depends on your needs. Or if you want to, you can just go ahead and go with the Impermanence or the Ash. Up to you. I just think it's better to have some extra light attribute monsters. One of the best cards in this whole deck, it's gonna be triple copies of Super Poly. So this card doesn't need explanation. It has an amazing synergy with this deck, and you will have a lot of targets in the extra deck for it. And lastly, I believe this is the 41 card, 41st card. It's Foolish Burial. This card has, again, good synergy with the Shaddoll and the Despian card, especially Despian Tragedy. So I would still choose to play it. If you don't want, you can switch it for Call by the Grave, or you can just cut it out completely. I wouldn't suggest. 41 cards is not gonna ruin the consistency of the deck. And now for the extra deck, the only two link monsters that I play are Artemis and Gravity Controller. Artemis for Alistair and then Gravity Controller for Construct. For the Invoke part, I play two copies of Mekaba, one copy of this card, Invoke YuGiOh, I don't know how to say that name, and one copy of Invoke Purgatory. This card is the optional one. You can change it for something else if you want to, maybe Caliga or I don't know, something else that you might want to play, but I think the Purgatory is still good to do some damage. For the Shaddoll part, I of course play the two windows, two construct, two windows, two construct, and the one Abkalon. Again, at this point we all know how this works, so I'm not gonna go into any details. For the Despians, I play two copies of Despian Querities and the one copy of Despian Proscenium. The effect of this card is it's a quick effect. During either main phase, you can change the attack of all monsters on the field that are not fusion monsters level 8 or higher to 0 until the end phase. So really good. And Proscenium, it requires a Despian, a light and a dark monster. And it says that during the main phase, you can target one fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, or special summon it to your field. And when this card destroys an opponent monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack or defense, whichever is higher. So, really good card. It's mostly situational, mostly when you're gonna go second. But this card is really good. So that's for the Despians. And lastly, I played a single copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I used to play Mud Dragon of the Swamp as the other card before I play Purgatorio. So if you want to switch Invoke Purgatorio for the Mud Dragon of the Swamp, you can do that for the Super Poly target. But I think we already have enough targets for Super Poly with the regular monsters we have. So that would be all for the deck profile. If you like the video, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any feedback, let me know. If you wanna see some combos or test hands, let me know down in the comments so I know to make that video. I'll see you on the next one and have a great rest of the day.